are you 6'3"?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I just want to make sure people know that you're 6'3". How do you relate to Ben Darmstead? Do you guys have a special relationship because he's tall too and turns on top?
Yeah. So really, I've known him since he was a little kid. His father brought Ben to one of my boot camps. I keep talking about boot camps. It's basically the double meaning of throwing a boot in and the boot camp when that was popular in the early 2000s. But he came to a bunch of my boot camps, and essentially he said, "Hey, Ben's going to be real tall, and I want to get in front of you as much as possible. And I also want to bring you in twice a year to Burnett's camp, or at Burnett's location." So I was like, I already have enough location. This one in Ohio is really good. I don't want to overexpose myself. And he's like, I don't know if you've ever seen Ben's father, but he's like, "You're doing it, whether you like it or not." And we ended up having a very successful camp, about 80 kids every time I showed up. But in doing so, Ben became like he would come in when he was a little kid and stay with me in my basement, and just always dreamed of being at Cornell. And so it was a great experience watching him grow up, and also having the ability we had the same body type. Plus he was bringing in Ben Askren, which was complemented what I did very well. And Ben Askren and I always say we created a hybrid wrestler that's like the ultimate top wrestler.
So with you being 6'3" and being in wrestling, of course, was it just necessity that you had to be good on top?
It was a mindset even before I was long and lanky. My father, and I think it came from, growing up in Northern New York where Gene Mills was at Syracuse. And so my dad, they competed against them. But also my dad would go to Gene's clinics and just really loved Gene's technique. So my dad just hammered, half Nelson, spiral ride. And that mindset, I always talk about top wrestling being a mindset, and it's better that you learn it early, because I found when I was coaching at Ohio State and kids from Ohio that would come in and just were not good on top, it was really tough in 4 to 5 years to really lay the groundwork and actually have them turning guys. So I found that very challenging. But at a young age, my father just really instilled it, just as important as takedowns, believe it or not, which is unique. And so the mindset was there, and then my body grew into that type of a style. And it was, interestingly enough, I'm known more for my legs, but I was really a better spiral half Gene Mills type of wrestler. But everyone kind of figured that out when I got to college. So I morphed into more of a leg wrestler. Mark Coleman had I'd go to Ohio State camps. Mark Coleman taught me the first time a figure four. And I always just threw the leg in and hooked it around the guy's leg, and like tried to just hip him over, helicopter him over. Well, that didn't work at the highest level. So Mark taught me the figure four. And I was like, wow, really kind of my freshman and sophomore year at Ohio State started to perfect it.
What's that like mentally to take top and know that you're going to impose your will on an opponent?
Well, it's every time I do it, it's risky, because you're essentially giving up a point, because nobody wanted to wrestle me on the mat. So everyone let me go. You know what I mean? Because my goal was not to escape and get out. My goal was to reverse the guy and get back on, so that I can get on top and get riding time, and all of a sudden 3 points later be in control of the match. So to take top, it just guaranteed. It was what the beautiful thing about it was. I always had that ace in the hole. So even if I was down by 8, I never panicked, because I'm like, I'm taking top and I should probably be able to figure this out. Had the 4-point system, on back points been instilled, if that was a rule now, I would have loved it. It would have even given me an edge beyond. I mean, four swipes and 4 points. That's nuts. You know, it just opens them. And I don't even know, Kyle, even though I'm a top wrestler, I'm not like super keen on that rule. I mean, you take a guy down and you put him on his back and you ride him a little while he's on his back. I mean, you're almost majoring him, you know. That's one mistake. It's like then it takes the guy 7 takedowns to get back into the match. And, you know, I have this on the Ohio State thread that I'm on. We have this long going argument on whether or not riding time is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm still a believer in it. I think it's a game inside a game. You know, in those close matches, a lot of people think it promotes stalling and trying to just ride long enough. But, you know, those are defensive battles or what have you. When you watch good pitchers in baseball and you understand what's happening, there's an excitement inside, you know, like I said, a game inside the game to get that point.